Edify.AI, we're focused on reducing injuries and incidents in dangerous work environments. Injuries in the U.S. cost U.S. companies about $156 billion per year. The simplest way to think about our software is it digitizes these processes so that they can more easily perform and track these processes. Really what we're doing is we're helping the company gather data, produce insights, and identify actions they can take to reduce injuries.
Hey, everybody. Happy almost Thanksgiving. Welcome to another edition of Ansel Lee Live. Hey, I've got my co-host here today, Mr. Jeff Beecher. Hey, Jeff.
Hey, Ansel. How are you?
I'm doing good, man. Hey,
good to be here.
Good to see you. And we've got our guest here today from Edify.AI. Corey Linton, who's the founder, CEO, and we've also got Kevin Butler, who's the Chief Strategy and Business Development. And hey, great to have you guys on today. Again, this is part of the FUEL series with the FUEL cohort with the accelerator that we've been working with for this past 3 months. Up in Bentonville, Arkansas, and this is our final interview in the series. And so, hey, they say that we saved the best for last. Is that
that's
what
right.
it is?
That's right. That's what I was going to say, Ansel. Exactly.
Hey, Corey, tell us a little bit about Edify and a little bit of background on what you guys are doing.
Yeah. Well, thank you first of all for letting us be here. We are honored and we appreciate the time to spend here. So Edify.AI, we're focused on reducing injuries and incidents in dangerous work environments like construction, mining, energy, manufacturing, warehousing, any workplace where people can get hurt. Our software helps reduce those incidents and injuries. We've been at this for a few years now, and we've shown with many companies a significant reduction in injuries, and which leads to a significant savings of workers' compensation insurance for those companies.
Outstanding. Jeff, you want to ping on that?
Yeah, Corey and Kevin, welcome. It's fascinating what y'all are doing. I can't tell you that I'm an expert in this area at all, but I'm interested to know how. First of all, I love the name of your product. It's called Mojo, right?
Yeah. That's right.
I love that. Can you take us through like maybe a case of how your software actually, maybe a case study of one of your customers and maybe give us some metrics?
Yeah, for sure. So I'll take there's a company in Southern California, about 250 employees. They do pipelines, Kana pipeline, and they dig a lot of trenches. Now, trenches are really dangerous. People die every year in the U.S. when trenches are dug, either falling into the trench from the edge or the trench caves in. So it's really dangerous work. And, like we all are here working, but let's say that Ansel decides to do a do-it-yourself project with a saw and seriously injures his arm, which would be tragic. But Ansel, you could still do this podcast and you could still do a good job. But when you're a worker in these high-risk work environments, if you severely injure your arm, you're out of a career and you need to learn a new career. And so not only is the risk greater for these workers, but the consequences if something severe happens is much greater for them and their families than it is for those of us who sit in a desk and work with a computer all day. So this is really serious stuff. In the U.S., injuries in the U.S. cost U.S. companies about $156 billion per year. And globally, it's much higher than that. So this trenching company, they were in the world of safety. Every company has a safety score that's called an experience modification rate. And Kana Pipeline had an experience modification rate that was getting high, and hence their insurance was getting very expensive. They hired a gentleman, Enrique Miranda, who a former Marine, came in and really started instituting a lot of safety processes and using our software, Safety Mojo, to drive those processes. What's unique about our software is a company can set up a protocol a set of rules that they want done daily, weekly, monthly, yearly, and then the software manages and tracks that. Makes it much easier to roll programs out across companies. Well, through Henry's work, that company saved within 2 years, they were saving in the hundreds of thousands of dollars. Mm-hmm. A company with 300 employees. So the savings were very significant because they reduced incidents. Now, I'm the first to say that you can't just throw our software into an environment and expect anything to happen. You need to have good leadership and good implementation behind it. At Kana, you had Henry, who was committed to drive the program through, but you also had the owner of the company who was committed to support Henry in his efforts, and they did a phenomenal job. So they're about 250 employees. We've got another customer we have great data on. They're about 3,000 employees across the U.S., and then our biggest customer is Meta, who we are the only safety software that they use, that they mandate on every data center construction project in the world. That's one of the largest construction programs in the world, and they have about 20,000 workers on site monthly. And every one of those workers are impacted by our software.
So in essence, you take incidences and you streamline the process and it's an educational thing. We're educating the company where the problems are, and then we're trying to reduce injury. Is that sort of in a nutshell?
Yeah. So safety is composed of a lot of processes. Like when you dig a trench, there's a certain number of steps you need to go through. What kind of soil are you digging? Do you need to have a shoring system on the sides of those trench so it doesn't collapse? There's a whole set of things you go through. The simplest way to think about our software is it digitizes these processes so that they can more easily perform and track these processes. So there's an awful lot of paper in safety today, dozens and dozens of forms. So the real simple way to think about us is we just digitize all that to make it easier. But really what we're doing is we're helping the company gather data, produce insights, and identify actions they can take to reduce injuries.
And in essence, during all this process is you're helping reduce claims and helping them with their insurance programs.
That's correct. Absolutely. Yep. And we have multiple customers who get at least a 10x ROI by year 2 over the cost of our software. So reducing incidents is, not only is it a really good thing to do because these workers want to go home safe every day and their companies want them to, but there's a huge economic incentive to do so for companies.
So how long have you guys been doing this? How do you, also my second part of my question would be, how does AI play an impact in this, in your solution?
I was hoping you were going to ask that, Ansel. So that was a perfect segue. So, I started the company in 2018 and really wanted to do, I'm a closet data geek, and AI has always spoken to my soul.
Right.
And in 2018, I wanted to find something really interesting in AI. And we spent a couple of years doing various custom development projects for a number of companies and kind of dabbling in a lot of things, and got involved in safety in late 2019. And then in 2020, really made the pivot as a company to be full on with safety. And we bought a product from a construction company in Southern California called Safety Mojo that turned out to be a fantastic product. And that really became the basis of what we do. AI is a really trendy term right now, and everybody's throwing it around, but we've been at this AI thing for a number of years now, and we're really excited about what we're doing with AI. And I'll just give you a couple of examples of that. The most common use case of our software is somebody's out in the field, they pull up a form and they fill out a form. They have a drop down, they select it, another drop down, and so forth. Well, 2 really cool scenarios with our AI. One is, instead of me filling out a form, I can say, hey, Siri, I want to do a blah, blah, blah form. And then I just describe in my own words. I don't even have to use the right terms, but I describe in my own words. And through tuned versions of the large language models, we actually fill out the form for the person. Now, these are workers who are out in the field. They have gloves on. They have to take their gloves off, open their phone, open the app, open a form, fill it out, versus, hey, Siri, I want to do X, blah, 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 blah. The form pops up already filled out. It's really cool stuff, and it works incredibly well. As an example, a common you don't have to say the right terms where it gets really powerful. And I'm trying to think of any examples, but it gets pretty geeky pretty fast if I get into that. But it's very cool. And the other piece of it that's really interesting, that part of our AI is there's a lot of documentation in safety. In Bentonville, Walmart has one of the largest construction projects going on in the U.S. with their new headquarters campus. And they've got, I heard somewhere a couple thousand workers on site, which is probably, not too far off. Well, each of those construction companies has their own safety rules because Walmart's a company that takes safety very seriously. Walmart has their own safety rules. And so one of the tools we're really excited about that we're just rolling out is where all those rules go into our AI, and a worker can ask a normal question of our AI, and it's going to find the answer from all those sources and give it to the worker very quickly. By law, companies have to have their safety manual on site, but and maybe they distribute it via PDF. But have you ever gone through a 300-page PDF on your phone? Yeah. Versus, hey, when do I have to tie off if I'm working at heights? Ask a question. Our AI goes and finds the answer from, in this case, Walmart's safety rules plus the contractor's safety rules, and says, here's what Walmart says and here's what your company says. And the person can very quickly get their information.
Wow.
Yeah, it's really cool. It's really cool stuff. And what's powerful about it, search is powerful, but when you search, you just get a bunch of links and you got to click on the link and you got to go read it, right? Well, this is using generative AI to go read the information and craft a really simple, straightforward answer. In fact, the other day we were doing it and we said, tell us in eighth grade level language. And it gave a really simple answer that was very easy to understand. It works multilingual. So when you have multiple languages on a site, they can ask in their own native language and get an answer in their native language.
That is fantastic. I mean, I was trying to figure out how does AI work into this, and you just explained it brilliantly. So that's it clears that up for me.
Yeah. Well, and the longer term AI play, that's stuff that we have right now, and it works and it's amazing. But what we are really doing is building the world's most accurate risk profile, because we are gathering thousands of data points every day from these companies. We have an understanding of their risk that goes far beyond what their insurance company has, for example.
Mm-hmm.
And so what we are really building, and we've got a working prototype of this, is the most accurate profile in the world for high risk work environments. Because if we have the most accurate risk profile in the world, we can change how insurance works. And companies who are safe can save a ton of money, and we can better assess risk and better make recommendations to stop something really bad from happening.
And because Ansel and I both have healthcare backgrounds, my wheels are turning. You talk about high risk environments. There's injuries going on in hospitals every day. So I'm wondering if you all have thought that through, and I'll put that question to Kevin. Perhaps maybe it's not fair for me to ask this, but is health tech on your mind at all?
We got, this software applies to basically any industry where people can get injured. So absolutely, we've been focused on a couple areas starting off, or where we've penetrated the most. But our goal long term is really to bring this everywhere.
That's awesome.
Yeah, we're going for world domination here. No, that was a perfect answer from Kevin. Absolutely. We have a lot of traction in construction, and we're starting to make a lot of traction in oil and gas, manufacturing, warehousing, but healthcare has come up a few times. So, hey guys, we'd love an intro. So there you go. I'll throw it back at you.
Well, you're talking to the right guys. So we can certainly get together and talk more about that, because Ansel's very well connected, and I know a few people myself. So,
well, what's fascinating to me is in the construction world, oil and gas, the safety and mining, the safety processes are really consistent across these industries. And they meet in the morning to talk about what are the risks they face that day. And just recently, I was talking to someone in healthcare who said, oh, we do morning safety meetings. Yeah. All the nurses at a new shift, they get together and they talk about what's going on, where do the risks lie, how are we going to stop infections from spreading? And it was really interesting to hear that, wow, they've got the same thing. And actually, sorry, you guys got me going now. I was at the emergency room with my daughter, and they had a computer in the little office where we're waiting for the doctor to come see us. and they have these company ads going for the hospital. And one popped up and said, scan this QR code to do a safety observation. I was like, oh my gosh, you see that kind of stuff on construction sites and oil and gas and mining sites all the time. Yeah. So it's just one more. The universe is telling us again, we got an opportunity in healthcare that we got to go after.
Well, you think about an operating room, which is oxygen-rich environment where they're using electric cautery. Those two things are, incompatible. But so there are definite issues there. So I commend you on where you are right now, and I'm certainly glad you're here today talking about this. I'll turn it over to Ansel. It looks like our time is winding down.
Yeah. So, hey, anything else you'd like to share real quick before I'll tell you what, first, how can folks get in touch with you and find out more?
Go to www.edify.ai. There's a contact form on there. They can fill it out. I'm happy to give my personal email, Corey.Linton, Cory.Linton @edify.ai. You're welcome to contact me directly, and I can get you in touch with the right folks. And hey, I do want to say one other thing. We got accepted into the FUEL program in Bentonville, and I had never been to Bentonville, and I was like, really, Bentonville? And I have had a phenomenal experience, and I just want to give a shout out to Bentonville. And it's an amazing place. We met Kevin in Bentonville, and he's there, and he's been fantastic to help us make more connections in Bentonville. But what a great place, a lot of great businesses, a lot of great people, and we are really appreciative that we've been able to be involved and start making these connections.
Yeah, thank you for the shout out for FUEL. Both Tom and Darian, I know you guys all pretty much it's pretty cool the way that goes on, but you can find out more about if you're interested in the FUEL Accelerator. You can jump on. I don't know the URL, but you can go. You can go to go to FUEL AI. Go to our website and find out more about these other companies, and that goes directly to our YouTube channel. But listen, thank you all for being on here today. I wish you well, and hey, let's continue the conversation. And again, I wish you much success and more. Happy Thanksgiving.
Happy Thanksgiving, guys.
Happy Thanksgiving. Thank you.
Happy Thanksgiving. Thank you guys for the time. We really appreciate being able to be involved.